Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Canine Chronicles and Dog Show Tips Coach's Corner with George Alston. Again, get your notebook ready and listen to George.
Coach's Corner with Will Alexander and George Alston. Brought to you by Proclan and Canine Chronicles.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Coach's Corner with the coach himself, George Alston. Hey, George, how's it going today?
Hey, good morning. It's good to see you. You're looking a little brighter and chipper than the last time I saw you.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Am I cut off or not?
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. Because on my end it looks like like you cut me off.
Nope, you're good. Our heads are about the same size. Everything's perfect.
Okay. I haven't been called perfect in years.
Well, there you go. Start your day off right. What are we talking
Okay.
about today?
Okay. This is something that is uh I only taught in my super advanced class. It's the only time I ever taught it or to my assistants is how to lead train a dog. Most people say they're going to lead break the dog. You don't lead break a dog, you lead train it. Number one, we're going to start with puppies. Puppy has to be under 12 weeks of age. You never attempt to lead train a dog while they're teething because their hair hurts, their jaw hurts, their mouth hurts,
Everything
and
hurts.
they have the concentration span of a demented gnat. The only thing the only thing you do is when they're teething is you train them to be ladies and gentlemen, and that's it. You don't try to do any show training. With a puppy, what this is number one. It has to be I used to do it puppy, uh, 9 or 10 weeks of age. You use a soft nylon choke. That's just so that they don't slip the lead. It's not to choke them. And you put it down around their neck, at the very base of their neck, down around their shoulders. With a puppy, you never put it up high because it's too strong of a control.
Yeah, I think the signal will be too hard on them. So,
Yeah. So down around the neck is not anything. So you put it on there, and when it starts, a puppy's going to be racing around. So you follow that puppy. No pressure on the lead at all. You just follow them. Now, this is assuming that you've made contact with your puppy and that he loves you and he wants to please you and he wants to play with you and that type of thing. So he'll go running off into the whichever direction he wants to, and when he stops, you turn sideways to that dog. That is the secret. You turn sideways. Now, he decides which way he wants to go. If he wants to go towards you, then you turn in that direction. If he wants to go back to the direction he was going, you then follow him. The minute he stops, you turn sideways. When he
so when
turns
you
to
turn sideways, you mean so you're going along, and as soon as he decides to stop, you swing your body in front of him or just sideways?
sideways, you turn to the right, you turn
Okay,
sideways. You turn sideways. That's one of the reasons you don't want to make eye contact. Because if you make and you don't say anything. You don't say, "Hey, that's a good puppy, come puppy," or
right.
anything like that. So then when the puppy goes in your direction, you turn and you go and you start to walk, and he'll go romping along and he'll go way out in front of you, and you wait until he stops, and then you turn sideways. And then all of a sudden he starts to get into his little head. Now, if he goes too far in front of you, if you pull lightly on the lead, he'll stop. Um, I used to very rarely did I ever have to pull on the lead, but because they always stopped after they went a certain pace, because they're always he's going to look back to see where you are, and then you turn and you go. After a while, he'll start to go along beside you, and the minute he gets out in front of you 2 or 3 feet, you do an about turn. Don't say anything. Very light contact on the lead. And the minute you do that obedience about turn, he'll start to watch your left knee because dog's always on your left.
Yep.
He'll start to watch your knee. And then you would go along and then you would turn. When he wasn't pulling, you would turn and he would then turn and follow you with no pulling on the lead. And you do this training session should never be longer than 10 minutes. When I
I
would
agree.
demonstrate when I would demonstrate in front of my super advanced class, at no time did it take me longer than 5 minutes to lead train a puppy. And I usually did a puppy that was 10 months of age.
In 10 weeks or 10 months.
I mean, 10 weeks. I'm sorry. Thank you. I always need somebody to kick me in the butt once in a while.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's gonna be me. I don't think so.
okay. Now, also during this period of time, you're going to be sort of teaching your puppy to stack. You never, ever, ever do stack training and gait training in the same lesson. They don't understand why one minute you're trying to get them to be happy, and then all of a sudden they have to be in you stand there, and they can't understand. You can train any dog to stack in within 5 minutes. I don't care what dog it is. You can train any dog to gait on a lead in 5 minutes. The hardest thing to teach a dog is that transition between stacking and gaiting. They don't understand that transition. So you separate your gait training and your um, stack training at least 3 hours between those lessons. It can be a whole day, that's fine. But if
Yeah.
you're trying to get it to be done, and this goes for an adult dog or a puppy, and once you get them to gait well and stack well, then you gradually bring those lessons closer and closer together. Let's say 2 hours, and then you wait, and then after a couple of days of that, then you go to 1 hour, then you go to 1/2 hour, and then you go so that you can go from stack to gate to stack to gate seamlessly. The dog understands it, and he's happy. Do not talk to your dog while you're trying to get him to gate. You want him to look at you quizzically. You want him to try to understand what you're doing. Don't go waving food or
Yeah.
whatever. food is the worst thing in the world. The greatest method of reward is intermittent random reward. They never know when it's coming. And never use food. Use love. Use a pat on the back. You have learned about your puppy. What does he like? If he scratched on the cheek, does he like scratched on the ear, top of the head? You want to keep basically the head. That's my dog Fred here wanting to be scratched on top of the head. And so, because you want control of the head, don't go patting him on the rear end or on the side, because then as he gets older, he'll keep, if you keep patting him on the hind quarter, then he's going to wave his hind quarter at you all the time because that's where he wants to be petted. That doesn't work when you're in the show ring. If he keeps waving his butt towards you, you want him to have the head. That's where your control is. If you are going to retrain a dog, let's say it's an older dog and you're going to retrain it, you use the nylon choke up higher on the neck. This is where you're going to have control. You never do that on a little puppy, but you do it on an older dog so that you have control on this and you go through the same process. What I used to do is before I would try to train a dog, I would sit out in my training paddock and just sit there and watch the dog and let him come up to me and I would find out what his likes and his dislikes were before I even tried to teach him anything.
Yep.
You have to understand the dog. Every dog is different. You get 10 puppies in a litter, and every single one of those puppies is different. I was able to practice this technique with my own family's boxers. And then when I worked for Lena Basquette, I had to train her young Great Dane puppies. And then during part of my career, I managed the breeding kennel for Anna Mosier, Harmo Kennels, Dachshunds, and Poodles, and show trained all of those puppies for Bill Trainer to show. And this is something that I worked on for a lot of years, and it really, really, really worked. Now, this is going to sound different from anything that anybody's been ever taught. Once you have trained your dog and he works well at home, you never, ever, never practice at home again
Why is that?
because everything is perfect at home. And have you ever been to a dog show where the conditions are perfect? Have you?
No, no. I always tell my class you can win as many best shows as you want in your backyard. But there's no the judge isn't going to come to your backyard. So
Well, that's right. And there's thousands and thousands of backyard champions. And how many times you heard stupid, there goes my favorite word again. And stupid people say, "Oh, my dog shows fine and beautifully at home." The only problem is judges doesn't make hike. The judge won't make house calls.
exactly.
So if you need to practice, you can practice at a dog show. If you need to find now, if your dog gets into a bad habit, yes, you take care of that at home. And once you get it done at home, then you don't do it at home again. I would show if I was campaigning as a specials dog, let's say over a 3-year period, I would say I didn't practice with that dog or do anything at home with that dog maybe 10 times in 3 years if
Yeah.
he was getting into a bad habit. It you never practice at home. Once they learn how to now the Doberman's coming, and the Doberman wants to be on the video too. Right, Elsa? Yes. And she's gonna whack me with her nose. And the, with the older dog, you the lead training is done, again, using that obedience about turn. You always do initial training on a loose lead. Then if you have to show the dog on a tight lead for control purposes or guidance purposes, then you can go to a tight lead, and it's very easy to do. But it's very, very difficult to go from a dog that's trained on a tight lead to go to a loose lead. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Now, this training procedure works with all ages. I took an English foxhound that was 4.5 years old that had never been on a lead before and used the same technique. And Winslow turned out to be one of the greatest pure show dogs that ever lived. And he actually understood what was going on, and he would watch my left knee. And this is something that you do at home to really, really see if this is working, is go slow and then fast, and then change your speeds and see if the dog is watching you and they slow down to you changing speeds. Then you could use this in the show ring under the conditions that you're showing. If you're going out there at an outdoor show, it's pouring bloody rain, you're not going to show that dog a top kick going around the ring because you're going to slip and fall, break your neck. You want him to slow, but you don't want to yank on his neck. If he's been trained properly, all you have to do is slow yourself down, and that dog will adjust to you. One of the dogs that I showed, um, Telltale's Royal Stewart, 65 best in shows. And Doberman, he's,
Mhm.
um, I blew my ankle out and I was out of the show ring for a month. And Marianne showed Stewart. Now, I always showed Stewart fast and crazy. Marianne couldn't run fast and crazy. She'd showed Stewart slow. She won a lot of best in shows with him. But he adjusted his speed to her. She never said a word. I told her, you don't have to say anything. He will follow how fast your left leg is going. And on a dead loose lead, he never missed. Any questions?
Well, I can answer them all. Did you
Okay,
notice
that's
my
it.
shirt?
Oh, who's your I see you got my name on that sucker.
Exactly, and because I think that
Now,
I always
if you sell those damn things, I want a commission for God's
all
sake.
right.
I'm being retired here. I'm not making any money. All I'm doing working here is doing honeydew lists.
That's what
That
happens.
yeah. Okay, buddy, it was
All right,
great.
George.
Hope this works out. This is uh now also have to, not getting any questions coming in from these folks. They got to get, and you've got to
Mm.
give them who they
Well,
write
just
to.
if anybody has any questions, send them to me to dogshowtips@gmail.com, and I'll forward them to George, and he'll answer them, and we'll answer them right here on air. So,
Absolutely, and no matter what the question is, uh, I that is something that when I did my seminars, I never backed off from a question, and usually I explain how to do something, and then I explain why. That way people understand it a little better.
exactly.
Okay, so long,
All right,
bud.
George. All right, we'll see you next month. Well, I'll see you next week probably, but I'll see you next month.
Okay, bud. Okay.
Thank you, George. Remember, lead train, not lead break. But it's so perfect. Anyway, if you like what you're seeing here, make sure you press like, share, and subscribe, and tune in to Canine Chronicle TV and Dog Show Tips for more information. Take care, guys.
And this year, with her strong athletic build, her fluid gait, and her confidence in the ring, the Beagle by the name of Miss P became the 9th.
The best in show is the Beagle.
Congrats, Miss P, on winning the 139th Westminster Best in Show.